A colossal tower erupted in the city, piercing the sky, marking the world's end. News called it the apocalypse, the catastrophe, humanity's final warning. Then the tower spoke, and humanity answered its call. A sudden message appeared, offering one choice: rise or fall with humanity. The strong stepped forward, ready to fight for what was left. They became known as the Tower Walkers. Monsters surged out from the darkness, claws, fangs, and pure chaos flooding the battlefield. Amid the madness, one man charged forward, eyes sharp, steps unwavering. Steel clashed, blood splattered. The Tower Walkers fought like demons to survive another floor. While raiding the tower, a glowing crystal appeared, mysterious and unreal. It was called the Return Stone, a relic that could rewind time but keep your memories intact. And someone was crazy enough to actually use it. The crystal shattered. Light exploded, swallowing everything in sight. Winds roared, and the world itself seemed to bend and twist. When the light faded, one man opened his eyes, realizing time had truly turned back. The blinding light faded, leaving only silence and disbelief. He was gone. Seeing that, others followed, desperate to escape the endless climb. One by one, they shattered their stones. Soon, only a few remained, tired, hollow, and wondering if any of it still mattered. They hoped the past would give them a second chance to fix what was broken. But the tower never stopped testing them. The monsters only grew stronger, hungrier, and the battle for survival, it was just getting started. Exhausted and bleeding, he pushed forward through the chaos, calling out to his comrade. But what he found was silence and ash. His allies slumped against the burning wall. In that moment, realization hit. Something had gone terribly wrong. His last ally fell, leaving only an apology and silence behind. Jae-hwan stood alone, eyes wide. Everyone was gone. But instead of stopping, he stepped into the blinding light, ready to face the tower alone. Even after everything, he refused to give in, his resolve colder than the storm around him. Facing a beast no human had ever challenged alone, he stood unshaken, eyes locked forward. He wouldn't run. He wouldn't turn back. The past was gone. Only the climb remained. With a steady breath and unwavering eyes, he made his vow. He would climb the tower. Memories of fallen comrades flickered before him, echoes of everything he'd lost. And somewhere in the shadows, something sinister stirred, watching his every move. A shadowed beast grinned in the dark. Its hunt wasn't over yet. Then, everything faded, replaced by a peaceful sky, calm and ordinary. A hand reached for a snack in a convenience store, like nothing ever happened. The story was far from over. A calm day, blue skies, and a guy just buying snacks, nothing out of the ordinary. Playful banter fills the store, the kind that makes life feel simple and normal. Then suddenly, an earthquake shakes the ground. The peace shatters. Something's coming. The tremors grew stronger, chips rattling across the floor as tension filled the air. People turned toward the windows, confusion spreading like wildfire. And then chaos. Screams echoed as something massive tore through the streets. The ground split open, debris shooting skyward like a volcanic burst. Glass shattered, screams filled the air, panic spreading through the city in seconds. And amidst the chaos, a child froze, eyes wide, tears trembling as the world began to crumble. The lights flickered, the building groaned, dust and fear filled the air. He shielded the kid, heart pounding, both barely holding it together. But then the child looked up, pointing past him. Something strange was coming into view. Silence filled the ruins, people trapped, shaken, and barely breathing. Then, across the world, a familiar shape pierced the sky above England. And in Japan, under the calm morning light, another tower rose, just like before. The world was repeating its nightmare. Across every nation, massive towers erupted, each one identical, each one terrifying. They called them Towers of Nightmare. And with them came the summons. A glowing message appeared once again, Tower Walker selected. And just like that, it all began again. A blinding light engulfed him. The choice made, there was no turning back. Those who accepted the call vanished from their world, thrown straight into the battlefield. A system awakened, gold, weapons, skills, everything now ran like a game. The tower had begun its trial. At first, everyone thought it was just a simulation, a chance to play hero. But reality hit fast. The tower's impact echoed across every world, merging illusion with truth. Outside, governments scrambled, scientists panicked, but nothing could explain the impossible structure standing before them. Workers paused mid-shift, staring at something moving atop the tower ruins. A figure stood there, tall, twisted, and wrong. Panic spread instantly. Wings unfurled, claws gleamed in the fading light. Whatever it wasn't human. Rows of razor-sharp fangs gleamed, a predator's grin stretching wide. Then came the roar, shaking the ground as monsters poured out of the tower like a tidal wave of nightmares. The tower impact had begun, the day monsters claimed the surface once again. Explosions tore through the city as people ran for their lives, the ground burning beneath their feet. Tanks fired endlessly, trying to hold back the chaos, consuming everything in sight. But the monsters didn't stop. They roared back, unstoppable, ready to tear the world apart. Monsters swarmed through the ruins, tearing apart everything in their path. Cities fell within hours. The world turned silent, buried under smoke, rubble, and despair. A third of humanity vanished overnight, and those trapped inside the tower could do nothing but watch. The message returned. You've been chosen as a tower walker. Save the world. Hope flickered in their eyes. Maybe this time, they could change everything. With renewed resolve, they stepped forward. If we clear the tower, they thought, maybe this nightmare will finally end. Those blessed with power became humanity's final line of defense, their last hope. Step by step, the tower walkers began their climb, blades drawn and hearts steady. They fought not for glory, but to stop the end of the world itself. He pressed his hand against the cold stone, breath shallow. Seriously. The team stood before the massive rock wall, their path completely sealed. Frustration filled the silence. No brute force, no spell could break through this barrier. A sudden crash, steel met stone, and the wall began to crack apart. Shock replaced doubt as light spilled through the opening. Captain, look at this. Gleaming fragments scattered across the floor. The stone itself was glowing. A crystal pulsed with light, returned stone. The power to rewind time itself. Shock spread. We can really go back? Huang and Khan smirked, gripping the stone. I'll test it first. The stone shattered. Light burst out, swallowing Huang and Khan whole. He clenched his teeth, body trembling as energy surged violently. The others could only watch in awe and fear as their captain vanished into the blinding glow. The blinding light fades. Only emptiness remains. The captain vanished. Doubt fills the silence. Can he even come back? Time travel shouldn't erase the present. Sakamoto adjusts his glasses, voice calm but grim. The answer's simpler than you think. Sakamoto's gaze sharpens. He's gone back, but not to our past. He speaks calmly, explaining with precision. Timelines fractured, worlds diverged. The Huang and Khan who returned is no longer theirs. Another version now walks a different world. Sakamoto sighs. I know none of you got that. The others nod, pretending they did. His tone hardens. What matters is, Huang and Khan truly returned to the past. But our world stays the same. He glances at the glowing stone. And as far as I know, the tower's items have never lied. Sakamoto held the stone high, his voice steady. This will send us to another timeline, maybe even the same one. The gem shimmered with impossible light. Tower items, they defy every law humanity knows. And far away, thunder rumbled, skies splitting red as fate began to twist once again. Lightning tore through the sky as the tower erupted once more, its fury marking the second tower impact. The ground trembled beneath monstrous claws. Beasts poured out in an endless tide, roaring toward a single outcome: the extinction of humanity. The tower burned crimson, lightning dancing across the sky, chaos reborn. The walkers stood at the edge of destiny. Would they use the return stone, go back, rewrite fate, or stay behind and die where it all began? Blood bursts, another walker falls. A colossal monster descends, crushing everything beneath. Screams fade into silence. The tower shows no mercy. Desperation filled the air. This was the end. The last of them clutched their stones, praying for one final chance. Among the ruins, one walker stood alone, watching the world fall apart. "I'm sorry," he whispered, as the light swallowed him. His only escape left was the past. On his knees, trembling, he faces despair itself. A monstrous maw opens wide, ready to consume everything. But then his eyes flash. The blade rises. One last stand begins. Blades of light tear through the monster, pure destruction in motion. Dust settles as the creature collapses, lifeless. The survivors gasp for breath. Amid the chaos, a smile forms. "You okay?" "Why, yeah." Hope flickers once more. Even when the world crumbled, they still held on, pure determination in human form. While others ran from fate, they clenched their fists and crushed the easy way out. No hesitation, no retreat, just that cold look saying, "We're not done yet." This was it, the last squad standing. Humanity's final gamble against extinction. The battlefield silent, blood, smoke, and shattered steel everywhere. He's down, buried in flames, questioning where everything went wrong. But even crushed and bleeding, he clenches his sword, still not ready to give up. The scarecrow-looking monster locks eyes, its twisted grin glowing in the storm. His comrade charges through the chaos. This is their one shot. And Jaewon leaps from above, cloak fluttering, ready to strike from the skies. Blades flash. Jaewon and his comrade strike in perfect sync. In one clean motion, the monster's body splits apart, blood spraying across the battlefield. Silence fills the tower once more. Only the echo of breath remains. Relief washes over them. No one's dead, just battered and bruised. Smiles return as hope flickers. They might actually reach the top this time. But that fleeting peace is quickly interrupted by something unexpected. A sword radiating divine energy lies before them, the suppressing dragon sword. Jaewon grips it tight, power pulsing through his veins. For a moment, he truly believes victory is within reach. RMC freezes. His expression says it all. Something far worse than expected just appeared. And there it is, the 18th floor, Chamber of Purgatory. A demon so massive it looks like hell itself took form. Meanwhile, his teammates are barely hanging on, bleeding, exhausted. Yeah, things just went from bad to hopeless. Weapons are shattered, melting in the scorching heat. The battlefield itself is dying. The survivors can barely breathe, their bodies broken, but they're still clinging on. Jaewon's eyes snap open. Something's coming. Something that shouldn't exist. A massive blow crashes down, shattering everything in its path. The ground caves in from the sheer force, dust and debris spiraling into chaos. Jaewon coughs up blood, his body trembling, yet his eyes still burn with defiance. His gaze dulls, the weight of despair setting in. Deep down, he knows it's all been for nothing. Memories flash, laughing faces, victories carved through blood and pain. The comrades who stood beside him. And yet, all of it, the hope, the struggle, the sacrifices, fade like ash in the storm. The towering beast looms over him, its molten core burning brighter than ever. Death feels inevitable. In his eyes, the reflection of the monster twists with fury and despair, a silent vow forming. Even as the flames close in, he doesn't look away. His will stands firm. One last fight, no matter the cost. He charges in, blade clenched tight, striking with every ounce of strength left in his body. With a fierce leap, he brings his sword down, slicing through the monster's fiery shell. Flames erupt, light bursting across the battlefield. His final attack lands, cutting straight through the inferno. Through the fire and smoke, Jaewon's battered form struggles to rise, his friend's voice barely reaching him. Yoonwon lunges forward, swinging his blade with desperate resolve, every move fueled by sheer will. He leaps high into the burning sky, cloak blazing behind him, a final stand against the impossible. Yoonwon pushes through the chaos, his scream lost in the roar. He knows he can't win this alone. The beast's eye glows with murderous intent, locking onto its next prey. Jaewon, bloodied and dazed, stares back in silent realization. It's his turn to move. The monster's claws clamp down, piercing through the blade, blood splattering in every direction. Yoonwon's body hangs suspended, impaled on the beast's horn, his final strike leaving a crimson trail across the monster's body. Jaewon's scream echoes through the battlefield, a cry filled with rage, despair, and helplessness. The ground cracks apart as the massive beast charges forward, its steps shaking the entire battlefield. Its molten body surges with fury, every stride leaving trails of fire and destruction behind. The creature lets out a deafening roar, its crimson eyes burning with rage, a sound that drowns out everything else. The monster slams its claws into the ground, magma erupting as the battlefield quakes under its rage. Jaewon's eyes widen. He's cornered, nowhere left to run. He clenches his teeth, blood dripping down his lip. Fear turns into burning resolve. His feet push off the cracked ground, every muscle screaming as he charges forward. Fingers tighten around the sword hilt, its weight now feeling like destiny itself. With fury in his eyes, Jaewon stares down the towering monster. No hesitation, only resolve. With one final leap, Jaewon descends from above like a meteor, his sword glowing with blinding light as it pierces through the beast's skull. The impact shakes the entire chamber, dust and debris spiraling into the air. Lava gushes from the creature's body, its death throes echoing through the collapsing dungeon. The beast's molten body convulses, magma spilling like blood as its final growl fades into silence. Jaewon coughs, gripping his sword for balance, exhausted but alive, calling out to his fallen comrade. But from the monster's shattered jaws, a faint red glow flickers again. Something inside refuses to die. Yoonwon sits slumped against the wall, his cloak torn and blood soaking through. The price of his final stand. The monster's massive claw falls beside him, lifeless, a grim reminder of the battle's cost. Jaewon's eyes widen, a flash of shock, grief, and disbelief all at once as he realizes what's been lost. With blood-streaked lips and fading breath, Yoonwon forces out a broken apology, his final words heavy with regret. Jaewon stands motionless, the glow of the dying flames reflecting off his eyes as silence fills the chamber. Memories flash, Yoonwon's warm smile, their laughter, their bond. The man who once led with hope, now gone. Even in the endless nightmare of the tower, he never stopped smiling, bright, unshaken, like hope itself. They called him the Smile Knight, a man whose grin could cut through despair. But in the end, that smile finally broke, for the first and last time. Jaewon lowers his head, voice cold and heavy, the kind that carries both command and grief. He turns away, his tattered cloak swaying in the firelight. Leave, his tone says, not anger but exhaustion. Behind him, the broken battlefield glows faintly, one man walking away, another left behind in silence. Yoonwon looks at the cracked gem in his bloodied hand, a weak smile forming, realization dawning too late. He stumbles forward, leaving a trail of blood behind with every heavy step. Climbing the stairs, his voice fades with each breath. He admits, Jaewon's strength was far beyond what he imagined. Blood drips from his trembling fists, his body barely holding together. He looks up toward the light spilling from the tower's archway, hope still flickering through the pain. A faint smile crosses his bruised lips. He believes, if it's Jaewon, then reaching the top isn't just a dream. Yoon-won collapses, whispering with his final breath, "I'm glad you exist in this world, Jaewon." The light of dawn spills through the tower's archway, painting the ground red where his blood trails end. Jaewon falls to his knees before the sealed door, his trembling hands pressed against the cold stone, silence filling the space where a friend's voice once echoed. Jaewon leans against the massive gate, his breath ragged, the weight of loss pressing down harder than any wound. A single leaf drifts down, resting gently on his hand, warm light brushing against the cold steel beneath his palm. Memories flood in, laughter, smiles, battles fought side by side, all fading, leaving only echoes of a friendship that burned bright till the end. Jaewon stands tall once more, cloak fluttering in the wind, his grief hardened in a quiet resolve. A beam of light pierces through the ancient gate, dust swirling in its wake. He steps into the brilliance ahead, the doorway bursting open, leaving behind the pain and walking forward into the unknown. The cold wind bites at Jaewon's scarred face, his eyes narrowing as the light fades behind him. Before him stretches a vast, endless snowfield, mountains of ice rising like silent sentinels. The blizzard howls across the frozen wasteland, ice shards glinting like blades under the pale light. Jaewon pushes forward through the storm, his breath sharp, his pace relentless. In his hand, a surge of blue energy crackles to life, power condensed into raw, freezing fury. The frozen earth shatters as massive spikes of ice erupt from below, a storm made solid. Jaewon dives through the chaos, his blade cutting through the crystalline explosion like lightning through glass. He lands hard, snow spraying around his boots, his breath a cloud in the cold silence before the next strike. From the heart of the blizzard, an enormous beast of ice and rage emerges, its roar freezing the air itself as it charges forward. Jaewon's arm is already stiff with frost, the ice creeping up his veins, biting into his flesh. Yet his grip only tightens. A cold smirk cuts across his face, his eyes burning hotter than the storm, as he braces himself for the next clash. The ice field explodes in blinding light, the shockwave freezing the air mid-motion. The world settles into eerie stillness, blue crystals glimmering like a frozen heartbeat. Jaewon kneels, blood staining the snow, his eyes locked on the colossal beast sealed in ice above him. The ice beast prowls through the storm, its crystalline mane glinting with deadly brilliance, searching for its prey. Hidden within the frozen cavern, Jaewon steadies his breath, biting down on cloth to silence the pain. 10 years on the 49th floor, each day a struggle for survival. The ice, the wounds, and the monsters here are unlike anything below. Jaewon steels his nerves, eyes blazing with resolve as the frigid wind howls against him. From the heart of the frozen wasteland, the ice dragon Velchisis descends, a living storm of shards and frost. Its breath, born from the forgotten land, sweeps across the battlefield, so cold it burns, overwhelming even the strongest resistance. He tightens his grip on the worn sword, the memories of countless battles flickering behind his calm eyes. The glow of divine energy surrounds him. The suppressing dragon sword from the 85th floor, the ice demon armor gifted by Yoon-won, relics of blood and trust. His gaze sharpens. There was still one more thing that kept him alive. A faint warmth glows from his wrist, the Flame King's bracelet, pulsing like a heartbeat against the endless cold. Her name echoes softly in his mind, Han Seal, a memory wrapped in both pain and comfort. Within the frozen cave, two figures sit side by side, one of flesh, one of spirit, bound together by the remnants of fire and frost. Her gentle smile lingers, even as her form begins to fade, an apology carried by the frozen wind. He grips the bracelet tightly, regret burning where warmth once lived, wishing his strength had been enough to protect her. Memories of battles past resurface, shattered ground, blood, and the silent promise he made amidst the ruins. A familiar voice cuts through the silence, pulling him back from the weight of memory. The dim light of reality replaces the cold void. Jae-hwan blinks, cup in hand, the ghost of the past fading behind his eyes. Across the room, someone breaks the quiet, asking the question everyone already knows the answer to. And with calm resolve, he nods. The climb isn't over yet. Steam rises from his cup as determination flickers in his eyes. After countless failures, belief feels almost foreign, yet this time it burns steady. The old blacksmith's scarred face softens, relief mixing with pride. He's seen too many challengers fall, but Jae-hwan's resolve still feels different. Outside, the rebuilt village of Oedipus gleams under cascading water, a rare piece reclaimed from chaos, born from one man's endless struggle. Even as bodies returned broken or lifeless each day, the people of Oedipus refuse to let despair take root, clinging to the fragile thread of hope. Priests formed rescue units, their faith now forged into action, pulling the fallen back from the edge of death. Blacksmiths worked day and night, hammering steel for warriors who risked everything, crafting weapons not for profit, but for the survival of humanity itself. Jae-hwan sips quietly, the exhaustion in his eyes saying more than words. The old forge sign sways, the last of its kind in Oedipus. Jae's hammer rings out, sparks fading with each strike, a dying craft kept alive by will alone. He quietly sipped his drink, his thoughts heavier than the silence around him. The tower, once full of life, now stood hollow. Humanity's echoes had long faded. Outside, the ruins told the story of countless collapses. 10 towers had fallen, yet the nightmare persisted. At some point, the summoning stopped. The once bustling grounds now stood in eerie silence. Jae-hwan gazed into the void, realizing the grim truth. Earth might already be gone. Jae's face hardened, the weight of that possibility sinking deep into his weary eyes. The rhythmic clang of metal filled the air as Jae spoke, his tone casual yet curious. Jae-hwan paused mid-thought, a realization flickering in his eyes. He remembered the cave where the return stone had first appeared, its glow still haunting his memory. On the stone wall, cryptic runes glowed faintly. Tower within the tower, nightmare within nightmare. Jae-hwan rubbed his temples, unsure what those eerie words meant, dismissing them as nonsense. But then his eyes sharpened, a chilling thought surfaced. Grandma Hylene had vanished 2 days ago. The tower's law was cruel. No one aged, no one rested. If someone vanished, it meant only 2 things. They had been sent back, their time rewound by the tower's will. Or worse, they had met their end within its endless nightmare. The wind howled through the empty archway. Their fate was sealed. They had jumped from the tower. Hylene and Jae, 2 of the last support-type walkers who still clung to hope amidst ruin. Jae's hands trembled slightly, the weight of loss heavy in his eyes. The forge crackled with heat as Jae-hwan sat quietly, the weight of his decision in the air. His voice broke the silence, steady, determined. He had made up his mind. The hammer trembled slightly in Jae's grasp, a silent acknowledgement of what was to come. Jae paused mid-swing, his expression unreadable as the forge's glow reflected off the sweat on his back. Jae-hwan smiled faintly, calm, resolute, as if he already knew the path ahead. Far away, a deep, chilling voice echoed through the frost. The game of survival was about to begin again. The colossal ice dragon loomed, its roar shaking the frozen world, a beast that had never witnessed a human reach this far. Amidst the blizzard, Jae-hwan's breath fogged the air, the monster's grudging respect cutting through the storm's howl. He smirked faintly, eyes sharp with defiance, irony settling in his chest. The only one to acknowledge his struggle was no longer human. The dragon's icy grin widened. It mocked the human's resolve, confident in its eternal dominance. The blade gleamed under the frozen light, sharp enough to cut through despair itself. Jae-hwan surged forward, eyes blazing with defiance, his sword ready to defy fate once more. Jae-hwan's cold gaze pierced through the storm. Confidence etched into every breath he exhaled. The dragon's crystalline armor shimmered, fractures spider-webbing across its once impenetrable shell. Fury swelled within the beast as it gathered a storm of energy, the air trembling around them. Jae-hwan launched forward like a spear of defiance, straight into the dragon's blinding core of power. A blinding flash tore through the frozen sky, ice shards scattered like shattered stars. The explosion of power consumed everything, roaring across the battlefield in a storm of blue light. And when the blizzard settled, only silence remained, broken by the slow drip of blood on cold snow. Jae-hwan's body hung between shards of frozen crystal, blood tracing down his arm, but his eyes still burned with defiance. The ice beast loomed above, its breath a storm. "So you're fighting to the end?" It growled, its tone a mix of respect and menace. Visions of fallen comrades flickered before Jae-hwan's eyes. The beast's voice echoed coldly. "No matter how hard you cling to life, your fate is still death." Jae-hwan is frozen midair, ice crawling up his body as he's trapped in crystal shards. Echoes of fallen comrades appear around him, fading into the frost. The ice beast watches from above, silent and unmoving amid the storm. Jae-hwan, bloodied and frozen, opens his eyes with defiance. He shatters the ice, gripping his body, and lunges forward with raw force. The ice beast roars, meeting his attack head-on as energy bursts between them. Jae-hwan charges forward, sword in hand, defying the monster's taunts. He recalls his slow start in the tower, watching others gain power and special abilities before him. Determined, he abandoned everything else, choosing to master one skill with absolute focus. He trained endlessly, striking over and over without pause. Through sheer repetition, he slew millions, his single technique becoming his entire identity. Over time, that thrust began to evolve, sharpening into something far beyond human skill. Each thrust grew sharper, faster, and deadlier. His technique evolved beyond human limits, its power rivaling hidden skills. Since it used no spirit energy, he could attack endlessly, though the strain on his body was immense. Hundreds of precise thrusts land, but only a faint crack appears on the monster's body. Jae-hwan charges again, piercing through the monster's freezing aura with everything he has. The beast retaliates with overwhelming power. Jae-hwan realizes it's too late to evade. The beast unleashes a blinding beam of pure energy, tearing through the frozen battlefield. Jae-hwan's eyes widen. He recognizes that radiance instantly. It's the same ominous light he encountered back on the 98th floor, the light that nearly ended him once before. Blood drips from his hand as he tightens his grip on the sword. Resolve hardens in his eyes. With a roar, Jae-hwan channels every ounce of strength into one final thrust. A golden streak tears through the icy beast's chest, shattering its armor and splitting the battlefield in light. Jae-hwan plants his foot firmly, panting through the cold, his eyes still sharp with determination. The beast howls in rage, its icy armor shattered and pride wounded. Jae-hwan smirks through blood and frost. His attack landed, but it still wasn't enough to finish the job. The beast unfurls massive wings of ice, each feather glowing with lethal energy. It ascends into the storm, channeling its power into one final devastating attack. A blinding beam erupts from its core, tearing through the frozen air toward Jae-hwan with unstoppable force. The ice dragon's beam shreds through the battlefield, tearing everything apart in its path. Jae-hwan crashes into the ground, barely dodging the continuous barrage from above. Gritting his teeth, he realizes the harsh truth. At this pace, victory is slipping away. Jae-hwan lands heavily amid shattered ice, barely holding his stance as the storm settles around him. The dragon looms above, its presence overwhelming, mocking his futile struggle. Bleeding and exhausted, Jae-hwan glares back, refusing to yield even as his strength fades. The dragon taunts, revealing a truth. Jae-hwan's fury had been manipulated by something called the Dream Demon Stone. Confused and furious, Jae-hwan demands answers, his grip tightening on his sword. The dragon doesn't stop to explain. It surges forward, unleashing another devastating charge. Jae-hwan sprints across the frozen battlefield as the dragon's massive claws crush the ground behind him. The dragon's single glowing eye narrows, its killing intent freezing the air itself. Meanwhile, deep beneath the chaos, a mysterious door begins to glow faintly, as if responding to the clash above. Jae-hwan collapses against the giant metal door, gasping for air, his body trembling from exhaustion. His HP bar flickers dangerously low. One more hit, and he would have been finished. Outside, the dragon's voice echoes coldly through the ice, mocking him once again with a mention of the Dream Demon Stone. Jae-hwan's body trembles as sweat and blood drip from his face, the weight of survival pressing down on him. He mutters to himself, eyes burning with realization and fury. The Dream Demon Stone. So that's what this was all about. The scene fades to a frozen wasteland. 5 years have passed since that brutal battle, and the world remains buried in ice and silence. An explosion of icy energy erupts as the colossal dragon crashes down, shattering everything around it. System notifications flood the air. Jae-hwan has reached the peak of human potential, earning the title 99th Floor's Nightmare. He exhales softly, fingers brushing the glowing system screen. The battle may be over, but the weight of it still lingers. Jae-hwan stands atop the fallen dragon, surrounded by shattered ice and glowing blue crystals. System pop-ups flicker endlessly around him, the aftermath of his victory. He looks down, his expression cold yet curious, addressing the defeated beast. The dragon, broken but conscious, replies faintly. Jae-hwan already knows the answer. Black liquid seeps out. The dragon's final words promise answers on the last floor. A dark blade rises, the ice dragon sword, forged for the dragon's essence. Jae-hwan inspects it, short but overflowing with power. Dark liquid stirs, rising from the frozen ground. Jae-hwan faces a massive black portal forming ahead, the path forward. The number 100 appears within the void, the final floor. Jae-hwan exhales calmly, determination in his eyes. It's time to move forward. He steps into the dark portal as it engulfs him completely. Symbols swirl within the void, forming strange runes. The runes solidify. Control room. The final stage begins. A quiet thought echoes. He's ready to take the step forward. Jae-hwan walks into the swirling darkness, leaving the frozen battlefield behind. His face stays calm as the black void engulfs him. The final journey begins. His eyes open. The void fades, replaced by light and fragments of images. Before him, golden screens float, replaying scenes from countless lives and battles. He watches in silence, realizing this is the tower's true state. Golden light floods the space, revealing the summoning ground, Oedipus. A voice echoes behind him, calm yet knowing. Someone's been waiting. Jae-hwan turns sharply, cloak fluttering, ready for whoever stands before him. Wait a moment. I forgot to send an important message. It looks fine, but is old and hard to use. First, to clear all tutorial games of World 294, recorded in Akashic Records, viewable by monarchs of the Great Land. Tutorial? He stands silent among corpses, message still glowing. He clenches his jaw and starts walking forward. A golden shoe steps forward, light reflecting off the ground. Dark energy erupts, The ground splits as he braces himself amid the chaos. A shadowy figure emerges from the darkness, its eyes glowing with eerie intensity. The shadow creature grins, its golden eyes glinting through the darkness. Droplets of black liquid drift around in slow motion, reflecting faint blue light. The creature's expression shifts suddenly. Its eye widens, sensing something unexpected. Water explodes outward as a dark figure rises from the depths, creating massive ripples across the surface. Through the mist and droplets, the man's cold, focused gaze pierces forward, calm yet deadly. The shadow creature smirks, sharp teeth glowing faintly blue, acknowledging his quick recovery. The man glares at the shadowy figure, demanding answers. The dark being steps forward dramatically, light flaring behind it as it gestures animatedly. It introduces itself. The devil named Beastrain, ruler of the Tower of Nightmares the man has just conquered. The man narrows his eyes, piecing things together. Everything so far was just a tutorial. Beastrain chuckles darkly, impressed, then hints that there's something more to reveal. A glowing screen flickers to life behind him, showing what looks like a game, but far too real. The man looks up, confused, as strange golden messages appear. Questions about a mysterious door fill his mind. A new system message shocks him. Someone named Seal is being added to the party. The scene shifts, showing three figures standing together, seemingly in harmony, a new beginning forming in the game's world. Old memories surface. Jaehwan introduces himself, standing proudly among his companions. Scenes flash by, battles, chaos, and bloodshed from their struggles together. A familiar voice calls out to him through the memory, Jaehwan. Jaehwan's face hardens in determination. The battle ahead is inevitable. Flashes of loss. Seal lies lifeless among ruins, her comrades calling her name in despair. A dying companion, tears in his eyes, apologizes with his final breath. I'm sorry. Jaehwan. Jaehwan stands in silence, haunted by memories of loss, pain, and regret. His eyes harden. The offer of a second chance ignites something within him. The devil's grin widens in the darkness. The game can begin again. The devil's laughter echoes as his dark aura spreads. He circles Jaehwan, tempting him with power, the chance to restart everything with his memories intact. Jaehwan's eyes widen. Realization strikes. This isn't the end. Jaehwan looks up at the glowing message. It was supposed to be the reward, his moment of peace. He realizes the cruel truth. The devil's laughter fills the air. He had been deceived since the beginning. The scene shifts to a ruined world. Crumbling buildings, lifeless streets. The tower's destruction never stopped. Jaehwan stands before a wall filled with plans, strategies drawn out to fight back. It's all they had left. Weapons gleam coldly in the light. Their only answer was to keep fighting again and again. Countless hands reach toward the light, desperate for salvation. But it was all a lie, a cruel illusion. The devil mocks him, but Jaehwan stands his ground. He's not swayed by temptation or false promises. With a calm yet firm voice, Jaehwan declares his resolve. He refuses to go back. The past will remain behind him. The devil clenches his teeth in frustration. For the first time, his confident smile falters. The devil bursts into twisted laughter before unleashing a monstrous roar that shakes the ground. Jaehwan's expression hardens, his calm composure unbroken. He glares back, unfazed. He steps forward, meeting the creature's gaze. His tone sharp and cold. He's done being manipulated by lies. The devil grins, his fangs glinting. He reveals that no one, not even the Great Land, can send Jaehwan back. Jaehwan looks stunned, trying to process the truth. The returned stone he trusted was a lie. His eyes widen. Realization hits him like a blade. Everything he believed was part of the devil's trap. The frozen creature laments Jaehwan's kind. Deceived by false hope, their fate was sealed long ago. The devil lifts his hands, revealing a glowing purple crystal. His grin widens as he exposes the truth. It wasn't a return stone, but a trap, the Dream Demon's stone. Jae-hwan looks up, frozen in disbelief as the crystal descends toward him, its sinister light swallowing everything. Jae-hwan stands before flickering memories, smiling faces, lost moments. The devil explains coldly that the stone doesn't send anyone back. It traps them inside illusions of their own making. The devil gazes at the glowing gem, amused by humanity's desperation. He mocks how they clawed their way up the tower, obsessed with rewriting the past. Jae-hwan lowers his head, shadows covering his eyes. He knows it's true. Only humans would cling so painfully to regret. Jae-hwan smirks faintly, accepting the truth. He's done chasing the past. The devil laughs, delighted. He invites Jae-hwan to begin what he calls the real game. The orange system panel glows before him. A new choice appears. This isn't a return to the past. It's just the start of something far more dangerous. The devil smirks, confident Jae-hwan will choose the safe option. No. But Jae-hwan's decision shocks him. The screen lights up, and the devil's eyes widen in disbelief. As the tower hums with power, Jae-hwan calmly declares he finally understands what the tower truly is. The screen reveals the truth. The Tower of Nightmares is merely a dream construct, created by the Dream Demon Malark to trap those who accept its summons. Jae-hwan's eyes burn with resolve. He realizes he's already inside the Dream Demon's illusion, and that he's been fighting within it all along. The devil's grin sharpens. Now that Jae-hwan knows the truth, he prepares to escalate the game even further. Jae-hwan stands firm, his aura blazing, his resolve unshakable. He declares his intent to hunt the Dream Demon. With fierce determination in his eyes, he vows to surpass even this nightmare and ascend to the next level. Jae-hwan stands tall, his tattered cloak flowing, his resolve sharper than ever. He grips his sword, eyes blazing, ready to climb beyond what anyone thought possible. The devil scoffs at his words, claiming the tower ends here. But Jae-hwan's glare says it all. He no longer trusts their lies. The Dream Demon's mocking grin fades as light erupts, tearing through the darkness. Jae-hwan's strike shatters the shadow beneath him, the force rippling like thunder. The demon's form twists violently, his laughter breaking into a distorted snarl as the world trembles around them. The Dream Demon leans forward, his shadow twisting like smoke, offering temptation cloaked in generosity. Jae-hwan stands firm, sword in hand, his gaze unshaken. Power, skills, treasures, none of it matters anymore. The demon grins wider, revealing jagged teeth and glowing eyes, his words dripping with manipulation, testing the last thread of Jae-hwan's resolve. Golden light floods the scene as the Dream Demon smirks, revealing the cruel truth behind everything. Jae-hwan blinks, confused. The battlefield vanishes, replaced by a peaceful, modern world. People laugh and chat casually around him, unaware of the chaos that once was, leaving him standing between dream and reality, utterly lost. A train rushes past at blinding speed. The noise shakes the ground as Jae-hwan stumbles back, dazed. Crowds push and rush around him. He's thrown off balance, colliding into strangers as chaos unfolds. Catching his breath, Jae-hwan looks around, confusion etched on his face, while the demon's laughter echoes in his mind, mocking his disorientation. The scene softens, a train full of peaceful faces. Family smile behind masks. Unaware of the nightmare, Jae-hwan just escaped. The Dream Demon appears beside a man in the crowd, whispering mockingly, feeding Jae-hwan's dread with cruel amusement. With a sinister grin, the demon turns, his teeth glinting under the sterile train lights, promising to reveal something far worse. Rows of unconscious bodies lie in a dimly lit ward, their breathing shallow, machines softly humming. Jae-hwan freezes as he spots himself among them. Motionless, hooked to life support, pale and untouched by the battles he remembers. The Dream Demon's voice echoes, decades of struggle reduced to mere moments in the real world, revealing how deeply trapped Jae-hwan truly is. The dream demon looms in darkness, its voice dripping with arrogance, declaring Jae-hwan's insignificance. Their eyes lock, predator versus prey. The demon grins wickedly, boasting of a power gap as vast as that between humans and dragons. Jae-hwan smirks faintly, defiant. His quiet words cut through the demon's pride, a spark of rebellion igniting once more. Jae-hwan grips his sword, confidence radiating. His calm words slice through the air like steel. He's slain worse before. The demon snarls, eyes blazing, mockery twisting into fury at the mortal's audacity. They clash in a violent blur of power and motion. Sparks of gold and shadow explode as the battlefield trembles.